Are you driven by virtues like loyalty and honor, justice and mercy, bravery and self-control? Do superhuman feats of strength, endurance, and perseverance light a fire deep inside your belly? Are you ready to unleash your own special kind of mayhem? Then you've found your game. Join Mark Valenti and his guests as they discuss manliness, mental fortitude, strength and conditioning, history, the wisdom of the past, and all things savage.
Hey folks, as you know, I'm a big believer, as a lot of you are, in the ketogenic diet. And today I want to talk to you about a new sponsor to the show, Keto OS. Keto OS, Ketone Operating System, is a revolutionary drink mix based on a proprietary ketone energy technology. It delivers advanced macronutritionals and promotes optimized cellular regeneration, energy, and longevity. The patent-pending active ingredient, beta-hydroxybutyrate, is actually ketones that your body will absorb. The drink is delicious and comes in multiple flavors to suit all tastes. This is the perfect supplement for someone trying to adhere to a keto diet. Whether you eat strictly ketogenic or you carb load on some days, this drink will put you directly back into ketosis just by mixing and drinking. You will be in ketosis within 30 minutes of drinking it, and you can test it with a 9-strip or with your blood. So whether you want energy, mental clarity, reduced anxiety, reduced brain fog, better sleep, fat loss, better skin, better appetite suppression, you will get them all with Keto OS. You can check them out online at their website, synsotoexperienceketo.com. So that's syn, C-Y-N, soto, S-O-T-O, experienceketo.com. synsoto.experienceketo.com. And if you need any help or need any more information, just drop us a line here at the show, blinddogjim@gmail.com. I have wined and dined with kings and queens, and I've slept in alleys and dined on pork and beans. Dusty Rhodes.
Did you hear? We've done it. If you haven't seen it yet, we just dropped an all-new line of gear at therefinedsavage.com. We have our signature Big Jim t-shirt, our Robin Hood of Collingwood t-shirt based on the Cleveland mobster Danny Green, and our girls' signature Refined Savage tank. All of these shirts are printed on Bella tri-blends and are super soft and durable. Head on over to therefinedsavage.com and order one today. Support the show, and we thank you very much.
Eric Ryan, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Long time no see.
Yes,
what have you been up to?
God, it's been
2 years?
Since I've stopped, well, yeah, probably since I've stopped in.
Yeah?
It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
Just life getting in the way, I guess.
What have you been up to?
Working at a gym, actually.
What gym is this now?
FX Fitness in Westlake.
I can't remember. Is it old Scandinavian?
Well, it's all
right.
Turned into Bally's and...
Right.
Just multiple people and...
Is it just strictly personal training?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Training and then some group classes, like
yeah.
HIIT classes, and there's a quote-unquote elite class, which is a quote-unquote CrossFit style class.
Right, don't say that. You'll get sued.
That's what I said, quote-unquote.
Yeah, they're pretty... Did you hear the story about how we had to change our Instagram page because of them?
I did not.
This is great. So I had a girl on the podcast, like second or third show. Her name was Lindsay Kelly, and she made it to the CrossFit Games with CrossFit Conjugate Black out of Cincinnati. And so we're having the talk with her, and totally different from Blind Dog. And on her, when we put up her Instagram post that, hey, we're going to do this, we're releasing this today, I tagged it CrossFit at the bottom because she made the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So I get a letter or an email from CrossFit saying you have to take that hashtag down. I said, oh, no problem. I said, I don't understand. This is, it's your athlete. I'm advertising you, not me. I don't have anything to do with her. So I took it down. And then she comes, I get another email from her saying, now I have to go back and take down any reference to CrossFit on my page because I'm not a CrossFit affiliate. I said, well, that's not a problem. We haven't been a CrossFit affiliate in over a year. I don't have anything on there. And she goes, oh, no, you have to go back until 2012 and remove any mention of CrossFit, even when you were an affiliate in good standing. And I went, you're fucking kidding me.
Because you stopped giving them...
Right, because I stopped giving them $3,000 a year. So I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'll talk to an attorney and we'll see what happens. So I talked to my attorney, who is this big deal lawyer in Iowa, and he said, no, you're 100% in the right. Otherwise, you'd have to go back and ask for every business card back, every T-shirt back. It's impossible. You were an affiliate in good standing and you were using their name as per your contract. I went back and she said, well, the contract might not say that, but we'll sue you anyhow if you don't do it. So it's like, we have all the money in the world, and so I was like, whatever,
They're just going to take all your Atlas
right. So I shut down the Instagram page and made a new one. It wasn't worth the bullshit. But anyone who thinks that CrossFit is this, wonderful, benevolent...
there's fun documentaries and on Netflix, but that's about it.
Yeah, the girls look good in their Savage Wear bikinis, when they're working out.
I still will never forget the one story when Erin said she went to go do her recertification, and I believe one of the instructors said to use their lats to push, and she was like, excuse me, your lats pull, and they were kind of like, what?
Yeah, you can't make that kind of mistake around Erin because she's going to jump on you like a maniac.
That's somebody that's teaching other people. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Jessica they asked for, they always, in the programming section, they try to have everyone, throw out an exercise and we'll make it into a workout for the week. And then Jessica made some workout up. They said, well, what weights should they use? And she said, well, how about 60% of their max hang clean? And he's like, whoa. What do you mean 60% of it? And she said, well, 60% of your max effort, the heaviest you ever got. Well, that's going to be different for everyone in the class. And she said, well, yeah, that's what makes it fair for everyone in the class, Well, if you're out, and he said, if you're out pushing a car, you're not going to push 60% of the car. And Jessica's like, this doesn't make any sense. Of course you're not going to push 60% of the car. But the little old lady in the class is going to be able to push the car anyway. Yeah. So what's the point? Yeah, it's that I always say that functional fitness is here to stay, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to the fitness industry. But CrossFit as an entity, I don't see that lasting very long. They're just too squirrely.
I think, too, it's just a lot of, I don't want to use the word mental and ego-driven.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I went and did the certification, they had us do a modified Fran. Instead of doing pull-ups, we did burpees. And I think I was on burpees, and then everybody's already in the last round. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Right, everyone's cheating.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
you're so fast at burpees, too. Yeah. I've never seen anyone do burpees as fast as you can do them.
I don't think I can do them like that anymore.
You didn't even bother you, though, when you were doing them, because of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
So I should probably say that Eric is a wrestler, pro wrestler, with several different federations. How does it work in the indie scene?
You can pretty much, unless you have a contract, there's probably 2 or 3 places around that will do specific contracts.
Right.
So if you sign that and say you take a booking somewhere in Indiana, and they're like, all right, we're running a show in New York, you have to take their booking regardless.
Right.
But as far as independent professional wrestling, you can wrestle wherever you want, when you want. If I don't want to wrestle next week, I don't have to.
Yeah.
But
how often are you doing it?
At least every weekend.
Yeah.
As long as my body can hold up and it's fine.
What are you dealing with right now? You're always dealing with some kind of injuries.
I mean, the usual.
Other than this, so I came out of the bathroom. Eric walks in, and I said, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. We'll start this podcast in a minute. I go to the bathroom. I come out. My wife is looking at his ass in the main lobby area of our gym.
She's like, hi, Aaron. I haven't seen you in 2 years. Do I have a cyst on my back? 2 weeks ago, I've been doing and dabbling a lot more of what they call deathmatch wrestling.
Explain what this is. This sounds horrible.
Deathmatch wrestling is
I'm looking at you right now, and you've got shit all over your forehead, like scratches, and it's just ridiculous. But go ahead.
My back is even worse. I can show you that later. The whole thing, actually. It involves a lot of weapons.
Right.
Not like your typical WWF, like trash can lids and stuff like that. This is more fluorescent light tubes, panes of glass, barbed wire. You know what Kenzans are?
The sticks? Is it the like Sandman used to have? Is that what that is?
No, those are Singapore canes.
Okay.
Kenzans they use them in Japanese floor arrangements. They're probably the size of a golf ball, maybe like a little bit wider, and they're probably inch and a half long spikes. And they're heavy. They're probably 4 pounds, 3-4 pounds, and you get those stuck in your head, and it's a pain in the ass to get out. And I've made that mistake twice for whatever reason.
Do you enjoy that?
I do.
What do you like about that? I can't even imagine.
It's an adrenaline rush that I can't explain.
Yeah.
It's a high you get that no drug can ever reproduce.
Is the high the anticipation of something bad is going to happen to you, or is it the actual, oh God, I have something in my back?
A little bit A, a little bit of B.
Okay.
I know you probably get the same thing, like before you compete. Like, say they're getting ready to call your name and you're going, like you feel like you're going to throw up. But once you get out there, all your woes and worries kind of go out the window and you're just in the moment.
Yeah.
And once your adrenaline takes over, a lot of it I don't feel, I guess, in a weird way. Like, you know, like you can feel it, but you don't because it's kind of in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Because you're like, all right, I got A, B, and C I got to do. And you just keep going from thing to thing.
Now, so that's a new concept so when I you know that I'm a huge fan of very old school wrestling. I'm talking way before your time, probably. So like NWA on Saturday nights at 6:05 on TBS, you know. But that all came out. Was that pretty much with ECW that those kind of crazy ass matches started coming out? I remember seeing ECW.
They've been doing a lot of, like, Japan is really where most of this stuff started.
Like New Japan Wrestling, is that what it is?
More like Big Japan.
Okay.
Freedoms is another big one. Trying to think of the one. They like Foley and Terry Funk.
Terry Funk, yeah.
So they were doing like the big deathmatch tournaments out there where they had the barbed wire bombs, like exploding platforms and.
Yeah, that's right. I used to see those guys do that shit a lot in these really obscure venues, and God, it looks brutal. I can remember an old match that was super controversial, and they used to have on. This was before pay-per-view, so you would have like Saturday night shows on TBS every once in a while where you would have some incredible matches. I remember. It was the Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes versus the Koloffs, and they were in this barbed wire match, and it was such a big deal, you know. By the end of it, everyone's bleeding, you know, but that was like the extent of it. And I'm not even sure they actually were getting raked with the barbed wire, you know. It was always like, oh, he's almost in the barbed wire, you know, and nothing.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but. I mean, who knows if they used real barbed wire back then? Right. Or if not. And not the segue. I don't know if you've seen any of my recent pictures and stuff on Facebook, how I've had the Road Warrior Hawk haircut.
No.
But, I got rid of it.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was getting a little ridiculous.
I forget that Instagram exists, like, for people. Like, and so, like, when I got a hold of you to interview, I'd be like, oh, shit, I'll find him on Instagram. So I just went back and just got on your Instagram lately. My favorite Instagram picture of you is you giving that fat guy the middle finger. That is my favorite picture. I'm gonna make that. I'll make the picture for this episode when you're on.
Let's say if you want, I can send you. I got some good bloody ones.
Yeah. That's So how did you end up getting involved in wrestling to begin with? Were you a fan as a kid?
Oh yeah. Always like. A lot of people always have like the vivid first memory, like, oh, I was in Richfield Coliseum.
Yeah, right.
Hogan and Sam. But I don't have that.
Right.
I don't know. It's just.
I don't think I went and saw it live until I was in my 20s. Yeah.
But I mean, I remember going to Richfield Coliseum.
Right.
Like, I remember, I don't remember matches.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could probably see a card and be like, oh, cool. But I mean, I don't have like that vivid first memory. I remember always watching it, always playing like the old Nintendo wrestling games with my uncles, and like if I got good grades throughout the year, like we would go to Richfield Coliseum and watch it. And then it just kind of evolved from that. Then in my teens, like I thought about wrestling in general, like actually becoming a wrestler.
Right.
Found a place in Elyria. Went to a couple shows there, helped out for a little bit.
The place in Elyria was off of All Brick Road, right? I used to pass it all the time on my way to when I worked at the detention home.
That's where I ended up like starting my training.
Okay.
Was in that place, but they were at Jamie's Flea Market before.
Okay.
So like that's where I initially went and like saw the shows and stuff.
Right.
And there's actually a guy in WWE now that was wrestling on those shows.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Chris Hero. He's a Cassius Ono now.
Yeah, I don't watch it anymore just because it's not the same thing. You know, it's not. I don't. How do you feel about wrestling nowadays?
I love it. It's the best it's ever been.
Really, the WWE and everything?
Because they're finally finding out that homemade guys, they just pick off other sports. They just don't work.
Right.
The guys that have been traveling the roads for 15 some odd years,
right,
going to Japan, going to England, the UK, just everywhere, and like actually living that life can hang.
Right.
And they have like that presence about them that you can't teach, that you just pick up over the years.
They've learned over the years to be a entertainer.
They're comfortable in their own skin.
Right. Hey guys, let's talk about Mac straps. Steve McCracken has put out these awesome wrist straps that I started using well before he was a sponsor to the show. He sent me these straps, and I beat the crap out of him in the gym. Heavily, overly engineered straps that will really support your lifts. I highly recommend them. Steve is now a sponsor to the show, and we couldn't be happier about that. You can check out his straps and all his other equipment at Max Barbell. That's MAC' Barbell on Facebook, or drop us a line here at the show, blinddogjim@gmail.com, and we'll get you in touch with Steve. Great wrist straps, great people. Yeah. Huh. Because I hear people talking every once in a while about the old days, but I'm guessing those are the people that I follow on Instagram are probably about my age. So I look at guys like we read that quote from Dusty Rhodes in the beginning of the podcast, who was one of my favorites, but that guy had a personality, but I don't know if his body type would have got past Vince McMahon. I mean, none of these guys have an ounce of body fat.
No, it's not like that.
No?
I mean, there's some bigger guys like Dusty, but I mean, they're not the same charismatic, like ha-ha kind of comedy guys, but there's all shapes and sizes now.
Yeah.
There's not really any specific body type, I guess. There's a guy used to actually wrestle in Cleveland for a long, long time, and he's probably one of the biggest guys in NXT right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's just...
What is NXT on? I've heard people talk about that. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's on their actual network, like WWE Network.
On WWE Network. Okay. Does Vince pretty much own everything now?
Yeah.
That's on TV?
No, not really. There's TNA.
Oh, is that still around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
People don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how many people are actually watching it, but...
That was Jeff Jarrett's deal, right? Wasn't it? When he
There's so many different people that have owned it and sold it. And...
Well, what's his name? Didn't Billy Corrigan from Smashing Pumpkins own it?
A little bit. I'm trying to think who... I couldn't even tell you who owns it now, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got friends that are there now. I mean, more power to them. Like, make that money.
Is the money better now than it was back in the days? I mean, are they? I know for a while there, a lot of guys weren't making a lot of money
everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere. Even on the independents, there's people that are making six figures on the independents.
No shit. Wow. So are you able to pay bills with this, or?
I mean, I can buy groceries.
Right.
I mean, it helps.
Well, I did one match in 97, 96, and I went through the training and did one match, 2 matches. I did one match and made $20, and then the second match I blew my ankle out, and I was throwing Pro Highland games at the same time too, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Where was this at?
West 117th, I think, in Cleveland, big church auditorium.
Do you remember any names?
I don't think there was anybody famous there.
It might be somebody I know.
The guy who trained me was the Super Destroyer.
Super Destroyer.
And in his defense, I remember him being a jobber when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
he would come out, and the Road Warriors would beat the fuck out of him, and you know. But yeah, he trained me, and I don't even know if that guy was still alive. When I was training with him, he was living in his gym, so he had the ring and some sketchy barbells in there, and then he had like his back room with a recliner chair that he slept in and just taped floor to ceiling of all these wrestling matches. So he was
that high life that wrestling pays.
And he was really overweight and beat up, and he had another guy he would tell me to do something, and the guy would have to show me the move, you know, because he couldn't do it anymore. And he was a sad guy, very sweet guy, but it was a sad state that.
He's probably 32 and couldn't walk.
Yeah, I mean, he probably was nowhere near as old as I thought he was at the time. He was probably the same age I am now, but I'm glad to hear that you guys are actually getting paid a little bit more than, you know, just the love of the game, which I'm guessing is the majority of it anyhow.
And then just like anything else, like know your worth. Like if somebody doesn't want to pay it, just be like, all right, I'll go somewhere else.
And there's enough opportunity to do that.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of
good.
places to work.
Be a little bit of competition and how did when you said you went through your training, how did that happen? Like, did you just walk into a place and say, I want to do this? Or
I mean, back when
you learned to do this, when you learned not to die.
I contacted the guy that owned the place, went for a tryout, got the ever living shit beat out of me, and just kept coming back.
Do they do that on purpose when you first go in? There was only 3 of us training when I went there, and they were very nice to me. And I'm guessing that was because I was kind of jacked, and they all looked like, you know, pretty spongy. I think this guy thought maybe I was a meal ticket or something.
He's like, this guy's big.
Right? Yeah. And then, how does it go? How do you go through the training? What happens? Is it
a lot of the beginning? Is just a lot of cardio,
right?
Just to see. Like what you can do, like what your physical, like fitness level is pretty much. Because like if you can't go 4 minutes without stopping, there's going to be no hope for you.
I remember running the ropes forever. Just
Bruises
bounce
on
off the
your back.
rope and bounce off the other rope, and just I don't know how long it went on, but it was horrible.
I mean, let's see, at least on the independents and every other ring, all that is steel cable, garden hose, and tape. It is nothing fancy. It's not comfortable by any means.
Yeah.
Some ropes are tighter and harder than others, and even sometimes I'll hit them and go, nope, just not doing that. Like I'll work around it today. Like, started training, learning the basics. Just remember bumping, just falling basically.
That's the most important thing I got out of wrestling, because I know if I walk out of here and slip on a patch of ice, I'll fall correctly.
Yeah.
It just became ingrained.
Most people put their hands behind their back, and you have 2 broken wrists.
Right, yeah. I was talking to my son today. He fell during dodgeball, and I was thinking, God, you know, I wish he would just. I mean, when he's got a big knot on his head right now, when he's a little bit healthier, I think I'm going to teach him how to take a bump, you know, just because it's such a usable skill.
Teach him on the concrete.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Teach him right, like a man.
And okay, so you're going through, you're learning how to do bumps
And then it's just like a lot of, I mean, just like any other sports, you're going to have your drills, your conditioning drills. Say if like you're doing baseball, you're going to throw, 1,000 pitches if you're a pitcher. Just like wrestling, you're going to take 1,000 bumps over and over. You're just doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
I mean, at the time, you don't understand why you're doing it. You're just being told to do it. So it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. And then once you finally start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you start doing things, you're going, oh shit, this is what I learned 3 weeks ago. And then you kind of finally start putting everything together.
Right. And then you kind of, when you start building your repertoire and learning your skill set, and do people give you, I mean, do you have like signature moves and stuff like that? And how does that come about? Do you just figure it out on your own? Does someone say, hey, you should try doing this?
Some stuff you can figure out on your own.
Yeah.
Other people have just told me to do stuff. Anymore, I'll give away my secret. I've just been taking all of Cactus Jack's stuff.
Right.
Just doing that. it seems to work.
Right.
I mean, it's that old thing of like what's old is new.
Yeah.
I mean, people love it, and a lot of times I'm finding more ways to hurt myself as opposed to my opponent.
Right.
Which is, I don't know how dumb of an idea that is. But,
Well, are you playing the heel? I mean, is the crowd excited that you're getting hurt?
some places, yes.
Yeah.
Other places, no. There's a recent, I don't want to say recent, maybe 3 months ago, maybe around like October, November-ish, at the top of the bleachers at this one place, I ended up getting pounced off from the top all the way to the floor. And I've had multiple people tell me, never do anything like that ever again.
How high were you falling?
It was top of the bleachers are probably where the ceiling is. So
Yeah.
maybe 7, 8 feet.
Yeah.
And then maybe 12, no, maybe not 12. 12 feet out.
God.
Very strong human being launched me through the air.
Right.
I was expecting to maybe hit the third row of the bleachers all the way to the floor.
My God. Is that one of the, because you're not a gigantic, you're bigger than the last time I saw you, but you're not a gigantic guy. Is that one of the things they want to do? Does everyone want to, like, throw you around and is that, like, fun for people?
I mean, when people
I
swallow
got
me,
this
it's fun.
great idea. I'm going to throw you through the air off the bleachers. And see what happens.
Sadly, that was my idea.
Oh, it was
Sadly, yes. And even the guy was like,
all right, if you want to be thrown off the bleachers, I don't see why
I'm not going to tell you no. It's like, it's your funeral.
Wow. Yeah, that's, so.
And that goes back to like that adrenaline rush. Like that's one of those things, like if it works, awesome.
Yeah.
And if I get hurt, it's going to be like, oh shit.
Well, did you get hurt? No, wasn't too bad.
I mean, I'm hitting the
What's
floor.
the worst? Yeah. What's the worst thing you have done?
Probably it would have been fracturing my tibial plateau.
What the hell is a tibia plateau? It's in your leg, obviously, but
Yeah, it's that little notch where the top of your femur sits.
Oh God!
Hit a moonsault, smacked the mat, felt a pop, couldn't move my leg, and I was in a leg brace from hip to ankle, right in the middle of summer. So
When
it
was
was
this?
June, July, August. This was 4 years ago, probably.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Probably that, and then on the same leg, I got thrown over the top rope, and on the edge of the ring, it's just steel and wood. There's nothing there.
Right.
Boom. Leg smacks it again. Felt a pop. I didn't think anything of it. Kept wrestling for 12 weeks. Even got like X-rays. They're like, oh no, you're fine. Nothing's broken. Finally, ended up getting an MRI. Had a stress fracture
Yeah.
in my fibula. And I
So
was
the other
wrestling
bone,
on that
right?
for 12 weeks and wrapping it with an ace bandage like an
Jesus.
asshole. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's a fracture, but I'm going to wrap it with an ace bandage.
Yeah.
You know, just
Wow.
idiot. Stupid stuff. So that was, I had to take probably 2 months off until I felt better. Like at least good enough to...
Right. How was that? How was taking 2 months off? Is that tough to do? Or
Awful.
yeah.
Like it's, I kind of go stir crazy sitting at home because I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't go out
Yeah.
because just people are awful.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I don't. Getting me to get out of the house is just an absolute impossible mission for Aaron most times. I don't.
Like sometimes I'm fine with it. Like if I have a week off, like this week I'm not doing anything, and it's kind of nice to sit home because I just with the hole in my back and
Right.
the possible cyst. Because yesterday when I was at training, I rolled once, and it was the most painful thing. On top of that, and I was like, I'm not rolling.
I
on this
can't
again.
imagine having a big giant ball of pus on my back and then rolling over top of it. That just sounds absolutely awful. When do you have to wrestle again, though?
Next week,
So you
Crown
get
Point, Indiana.
get it fixed before then?
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
If not, just an ace bandage. Just throw an ace bandage.
It'll work. Everything. Where is it? Crown Point, Indiana?
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's about an hour away from Chicago.
Closer to us or further out?
Ooh, I have no idea.
Makes a big
I'm
difference.
directionally handicapped. This is why I have a GPS.
Yeah, that's we go through Chicago a lot, but Then how did you get mixed up in these death matches? I mean, is this a normal thing for most of these? I dabbled
a little bit in the past with some stuff, and then maybe a year or so ago, year and a half, there was a tournament called the Prince of the Death Matches that somebody recommended me for. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I did it, loved it, and then I got invited to their other tournament, King of the Death Match. Did it, loved it. Yeah. And then there was this other promotion out in New Jersey that somebody recommended me for, and they're known pretty much for like deathmatch wrestling at this point.
Right.
And I went there and wrestled a guy from Mexico, Ciclope. Spoke little to no English, so it was kind of rough getting through with him, but I had one of my favorite matches ever with him.
Lucha Libre guy?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a deathmatch guy.
Yeah.
I think by far my favorite match I've ever had.
Why is that?
Everything went perfect.
Yeah.
For two people that don't speak the same language and just understanding like the universal language of wrestling, it was a beautiful thing. Like everything just from top to bottom just went right. The cards and stars were aligned wherever they needed to be. And
that's a big deal down there in Mexico, right? I mean, those people are pretty fanatical. And Japan seems to be that way as well.
Yeah.
Have you been out to Japan?
I have not. I would like to.
Is that one of you?
That's one of the goals, yes.
How does that... do they find you? Do you tell them you want to wrestle?
The place in Jersey, Game Changer Wrestling, they have ties with a place in Mexico, and there may be a slot in the future where I will be traveling.
Yeah.
And there's going to be representatives from Japan down there.
Okay.
So hopefully, again, if those stars align perfectly. Right.
Yeah, wrestling in Japan always seems to be kind of a weird, much different set of rules than here. There always seems to be these guys that are sometimes pro wrestlers and sometimes they're cage fighters, and you always get these catch wrestlers, and it seems to be they all just kind of do everything over there.
It's treated like an actual sport over in Japan, though. Like, it's respected. Not like here in America, it's like, no, you wrestle? Like,
Yeah, you know what? I think the people that don't understand, there's an art and a beauty to watching pro wrestling that, I mean, it first of all, the storylines are, or at least when I was watching it, were fantastic. There's a lot of work that goes into that. The guys are great athletes. They're great actors. They're in shape, and there's a beauty to watching two guys, like you said, with that international language of wrestling and being able to move and I think it's like
just reading body language,
right?
Pretty much what
knowing I'm going to go low and you're going to go high. And there's definitely a beauty to that I think is eclipsed sometimes when you go to a wrestling match and see some of the mouth breathers that are in the crowd.
Anymore, there's a lot of mouth breathers in the ring too.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't be there, but it's here nor there.
Right.
One thing when people will try to knock wrestling and they're like, "Oh, it's fake," and it's like, "Well, no shit." I was like, "All right, let's go outside and let's find a transformer." Oh, wait, Transformers aren't real? But you saw that movie. Right. It's fake. Did you know that? And the way I always try to describe to people, it's one of the last forms of, like, live action theater.
Yeah.
Like, you'll find, like, improv comedy stuff in here, but there's not that live theater. Like, it's not... I'll say there's not live theater, but it's... I'm trying to think of a way to better put this into words. But you know what I'm trying to say. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's, like you said, there's all those different things. And the guys that get to the top are not just good athletes. And they're not just good wrestlers. I mean, there's been guys, Chris Benoit was a perfect example of a guy who, forget about all the craziness of Chris Benoit. he was one of my favorites of all time because he was so technical and so graceful, and he knew wrestling so well. And it was almost like he forced himself to become popular at the end. It was like people were like, well, fuck it. This guy's been around for years doing this. He's going to be popular now. But he had zero personality, no mic skills whatsoever. He was just fantastic. But the guys that seem to make it, regardless of body type, have all of the personality and all of those ring skills put together. You know, your CM Punks, who you saw CM Punk in a mall somewhere, you'd be like, oh, who's that guy? You know, but he was huge for a while.
It's just, if you can sell a show and sell a pay-per-view, you already have them in your hands. Yeah. Like, the match could be dog shit, but, I mean, they're already in the seats.
Right.
And if the match is shit and you sell, like, on the mic after that again, hook them right back in.
Yeah.
And
they want to see the end of that storyline, too. So that storyline will go on for 2 or 3 pay-per-views, you know?
That's like the same thing with people give John Cena a lot of shit. Like, like, oh, he's a bad wrestler. I mean, he doesn't have a bad match with anybody.
Right.
He's one of the best all around. He can get on that microphone and sell a pay-per-view.
What's the knock on John Cena?
He could sell ice to an Eskimo. Like, he's that good. And just as a human being in general, just his Make-A-Wishes, just charity work.
I think you told me he's done more Make-A-Wish
than anybody ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I never understood why everyone hated him so much. I mean, I didn't...
And for somebody that's wrestling a full-time schedule, doing interviews, movies, promotion, like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
He's like Vince McMahon, just not sleeping, not sneezing, doesn't even close his eyes.
Vince McMahon's an interesting character because what an American success story that guy is. And, you know, another guy who probably screwed over everybody and their mother to get where he's at, but he's got that Tony Montana kind of weird American success story that he's as big as you can possibly get.
Even physically, he's still ripped to the gills.
What's he, like 75 or something? God, testosterone's a wonderful thing, isn't it? It's the best. It's the best, man. It's the fountain of youth.
Yeah, he's definitely not all natural.
No, you think? 75-year-old guy looks like that? Yeah, that's There
was a story, there's a wrestler that was doing a podcast and Road Warrior Animal was on it. And he was talking about how him and Hawk, when they first went to Vince McMahon's house, he said they walked in and he said it was probably like a 10-foot mural of him just in a suit from like the waist up. And he said he saw that and he thought it was the most ridiculous thing he's ever seen.
Yeah, as anyone would see when they see. It's like the remember a dodgeball?
Like painting a giant mural of you.
Right.
You're just like, go ahead and just paint over that, and I just want me to smack
remember that dodgeball? Ben Stiller had the picture behind his desk of him wrestling the bull. That's exactly what it's like.
That's what you need. Just take the one head off the Viking out there. And
just put my big head on there. That would be like my worst nightmare if I had to come in every day and stare at myself on a wall. Well, I guess you got to love yourself. You know,
might have to pay somebody to do that.
Yeah, Vince McMahon can get away with that. He's got all the money.
No one's going to tell him no.
No, I mean, is that the ultimate goal? I mean, to get there, to get to the WWE, or is the ultimate
for
goal?
A lot of guys now?
I'm talking Eric Ryan. What do you want to do?
I just want to be happy.
Yeah,
happy wrestling. I mean, I think at this point, I know there's no future, I guess, for WWE. Like, I'm not like highly traveled like the guys that are getting hired now. Like,
how highly traveled do you have to be? I mean, you seem like you're traveling all the time.
I mean, like international tours is pretty much.
Okay.
Like a lot of the guys that are getting hired now barely wrestle in the States because they're out in different areas, like honing their craft.
Right. And I know I've got a friend who came out of CrossFit who she got a developmental deal through the WWE. How does that work? I mean,
who's that?
I can't really say. She told me I'm not allowed to say it. She's not in. She passed the tryout, and now they're sending her to acting schools.
Oh, okay.
So I'll tell you off the air.
All right. Off the
record. Yeah, that's right.
Like, I think anymore, like, they come to you. There's enough people that are out, like, scouting shows, and, like, William Regal is a huge component of, like, a lot of guys.
Oh, really? He was
yeah.
a guy when I was watching back in the day. So they have a lot of the old school guys just kind of finding talent.
Yeah, like, he gets it. He has his finger on the pulse. Like, he goes to a lot of, like, the higher profile shows.
Right.
Like, there's some places out in, like, on the East Coast, and then there's a place out in California that he'll frequent and, like, just watch talent and give him feedback, and we could be like, all right, come try out, or I'll be back in 6 months.
Yeah.
See how you're doing now.
Yeah, I know she didn't have any formal training, but she had to go down to, I think it's the Performance Training Center down there, and she had to go through the tryouts there, and she's super jacked and really athletic, and people can probably figure out what I'm talking about because I only know one CrossFit athlete, but she went down there and did really well, I guess. They gave her some kind of deal where they told her to start taking her acting lessons and get her shit in line, and so maybe.
And it's a weird time because a lot of the guys they signed, because they had the UK tournament, and a lot of those guys still wrestle under contract for WWE, but they can take bookings anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So there's a guy that's defending a WWE title, like on independent shows. And it's one of those like mind-blowing concepts that you didn't think would have been possible 5-6 years ago.
So they're like inviting the WWE Intercontinental Champion to come, and he's not going to obviously lose that belt at this little show,
but he's going to be there.
That's pretty awesome. It's good to give those guys the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's good for them, too, because they're still honing that craft and learning to play to crowds.
And there's a guy now he's been signed and wrestling on Raw, at least for a couple of years, and he's doing, like, random stuff in the UK.
Yeah. I remember when you used to go to see, like, Raw, you would see all the up-and-comers. Like, I remember seeing Adam Copeland wrestle as, like, a undercard guy, probably, 20-some years ago. And who's this Adam Copeland guy? Like, holy shit. And then he ends up being a huge star in the WWE. And that was kind of neat. You see these guys that you saw on the undercard and kind of making their way. Probably have to go through the school and everything.
Yeah.
WWE want you to wrestle their way. I mean, do they retrain you when you get in there? Or?
Well, I mean, they're going to have their own way. Like, they're going to want you to play to certain cameras. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's, like, certain... nuances is the word I look for. Like, they're going to want you to do and not do. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just small things that I don't think the average person's going to notice, but, like, that's the way they want it. Yeah. If they don't have it, they're going to find someone else that's going to do it.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
But I think they're giving a lot of guys a little bit more freedom to, like, so they can have their own personality.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think the last time I actually watched it seriously was my son was into it, and I was seeing a lot less ridiculous characters, which was one of the reasons when I was a kid I didn't like the WWF, because it was these Doink the Clowns and things like that, like when Dusty Rhodes went in there and they had him dressed in some black and gold polka dotted ridiculousness, and it was too cartoonish for me, where NWA was very Southern, number one, but the Road Warriors were really the only like real characters you had, and they were like something I'd never seen before, That was the reason why I lifted weights to begin with. It was the first time everyone...
That's why a lot of people lifted weights.
Well, most of the guys my age say they started lifting weights when they first saw Arnold. The first time I saw the Road Warriors, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to look like. I want to look like an animal.
Big boys, man. I tell you what, they were murdering people.
It was ridiculous to watch them. They worked a total of like 15 seconds. They'd hit that ring, they'd throw the guy up on their shoulders, and it was over. Those matches were
and that's all they needed to do.
And they could come out and hit an awesome promo and talk shit for a minute and a half, and that was it, Did
you ever see the one YouTube clip? I think you probably have, where it's Hawking Animal and Warlord and I think Barbarian.
Yep.
Where they're doing the bench press and they're benching like 405 and they're just ripping it out and you're like, testosterone's a wonderful thing.
That was insane. And then that was they were I don't remember how high they got up to, like 455 or something, and then Animal was going for 500, and then they hit him with a plate or something and broke his orbital bone, and they had to wear the hockey mask for months after that, which made him even cooler. You know, we're thinking about we're launching a line of merchandise for the podcast, and one of the shirts I wanted to do was that hockey mask with his spiderweb painted on it. You know, because that was such a huge memory from my childhood of how cool that was. I mean, those guys were definite role models for me. I've been looking for a Road Warrior poster. If you're ever out on the road and find a Road Warrior poster, grab it.
I'm surprised you don't own stock in Zubaz then.
I got a pair of Zubaz when I was younger. Yep, 7th, 8th grade, I had a great pair of Zubaz.
I keep thinking about getting a pair.
For people who don't remember Zubaz were like,
Jesus.
I don't even know how to describe them. They looked like clown pants. They were these big, giant, baggy, poorly made clown pants. They were huge, and then you would have like your favorite NFL team logos all the way up and down the sides of the pants. They were the most absolutely ridiculous things in the world.
Like they weren't zebra striped, but they were zebra striped. Just imagine like MC Hammer pants, but they're like pajama pant material almost.
Right.
It's just pretty much for weightlifters that can't wear jeans or any other sort of pants.
People can see your balls flapping around.
Which when you have big leg problems. You have big leg problems. It's like the same weightlifters you see that have the giant, oversized, like sweater. You're like, what? Like, is this even
with the neckline cut out of
just
it,
all the way down to their belly button?
That reminds me, we've got the Arnold Classic coming. I don't know when this will be released, but we've got the Arnold Classic coming up here in a couple weeks. And have you been down for that?
I went 1 year, and that was enough for me.
That expo is the most ridiculous conglomeration of meatheads with Axe body spray on in the middle of March wearing string tank tops I've ever seen in my life. I get so anxious. I've got to go down there because I want to see the I'm going to go down on Friday just because I'm afraid of Saturday. But I want to see a couple buddies of mine and go check out some of the strongman. But Saturday especially is just it's like the cantina in Star Wars. It's ridiculous.
The last time I went down, I think this was one of the first years they stopped like giving out like actual samples.
Yeah.
Instead, they had everything pre-made.
Yeah.
And it's just people just eating and drinking and eating and drinking. And it's just, as soon as people stop, you just hear, and it's just so many people crammed in a small area. The whole area just smells like a giant fart.
Well, I think the supplement companies got wise to it because when I was a kid, I went to the very first Arnold Classic ever when it was just a bodybuilding show. And then I pretty much went every year after that for years and years and years. But I would go down there and get my, at the time it was like a $10 ticket to the expo, and they would give you those big giant bags when you go in. And I'd have, at the time when I was taking protein drinks, I don't take them anymore, but I would have my protein powder for a year. Because I would just keep going through and getting sample after sample, and you would literally leave with these giant garbage bags full of protein powder.
But now you take it and they're like, oh, would you like to buy it for $60?
No.
It's on sale.
So. Yeah, I remember last time we were down there, Aaron talked me into buying this shit called Muscle Egg, and it was like a gallon jug of egg whites. Yes. And you would just drink it and then immediately shit it out, like immediately. And nothing against Muscle Egg if anyone's out there. Just for my stomach, it wasn't having it.
Just drink regular egg whites.
You could, right? Or cook them, one of those two.
Yeah, but if you're on the go, it's a lot easier to drink.
Just drink some egg whites and
a little sugar-free chocolate syrup. It's a wonderful thing.
Oof, yeah.
Just don't drink a whole carton or you're going to have the worst diarrhea for the whole day. I've made that mistake on multiple
occasions. Whole gallon of...
No, just a little...
like the... Yeah,
like the half carton.
Right. Yeah, I think we've got one of those at the house at home. I'm not touching it, though. So, what are you doing training-wise now?
Oh, it's... Now this winter is killing me.
Yeah.
I've been hit or miss in the gym. I'm probably 3 days a week at most at this point. It's just the thought of leaving the house and getting into the cold weather.
Yeah,
it's just killing me.
Man.
I've been going to OSI. Have you ever been there?
OSI.
Old School Iron.
Oh, yeah.
Brooklyn.
I know. I've never been out there, but I've heard nothing but good things about the place. and I can't remember the guy's name who runs it.
TJ.
I've heard great things about him. From everything I've heard, that place is, as far as a bodybuilder, powerlifter type gym,
it's 100%
awesome.
a meathead gym.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love doing legs, this is a heaven for you. There's I think they have like 5 monoliths, a couple squat racks, 3 deadlift platforms. Have you ever seen a pendulum squat?
Yep. Absolutely.
They just got one of those. I have yet to use it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of afraid
It's all West Side stuff.
Oh,
yeah. We had a girl just switch over from there to here, and it was only because we had so much of the strongman stuff, and that's what she wanted to get into. But from everything she was telling me, that place sounds pretty awesome. So I got to get over there one of these days. Maybe I'll even get him on the show. It's one of those guys in the area where I can't believe I haven't run into him at some point, or I maybe have and just we didn't know who each other were. So, but yeah, I got to get him on there one day.
It's a great place, like affordable. Like if you're like a true like bodybuilder or even a gym rat, like it's the place. I think
yeah, and that's in what city?
Brooklyn/Cleveland.
Okay, so that's like West Side.
It's off of 480.
You're directionally challenged.
Yeah. Like, I can visualize where it is in my head, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm going to get a hold of him and get him on the show.
Next to Gigi's Lounge, the strip club.
Oh, over by the airport. I know where Gigi's is, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's all you had to do was mention Gigi's.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, the reason I know Gigi's
by the hotel you pay for by the hour.
Is because Aaron bought a car over there, a couple, that Metro Lexus over there, and we were driving back, and we're like, oh, look, Gigi's Lounge,
They're always hiring. For whatever
yes, always hiring. The dancers do not last long out there. So when are you doing like mostly bodybuilding stuff or?
Depends. For the most part, yeah. Because a lot of cardio stuff I can't do with my back because it's always hit or miss when it flares up.
Yeah. What's wrong with your back?
Herniated discs.
Yeah.
The two. L3, L4, and L5 and S1?
Jesus Christ.
So there's 2 of them.
So your entire lower back and like a mid-range. Wow.
Just shot.
Have you been trying to work that reverse hyper? Is it helping at all, or do you do that one?
I mean, I'll do that when I'm there.
Yeah.
Between that and just trying to stretch every day, that's the most I can do for it. I mean, at this point.
Right. Yeah, I met you, and for people who were listening, Eric came into the gym. And when we were in our old place in Tenney Avenue, and came in and got the nickname Wednesday.
Probably the size of this room.
Yeah, it was about 900 square feet. And he came in and he said, yeah, I really like this. I think I'm only going to come on Wednesdays, though. And then I saw him every day for like 6 months after that. But he became Wednesday. That was your nickname for the longest time.
I loved it. People always shit on CrossFit. And then I think you even said it before, like there's going to be, no matter where you go, bad coaching is bad coaching.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
done right, CrossFit, I believe, is one of the most beneficial things you can do for your body.
Yeah. It's, like I said, there's functional fitness is great, and there's not enough qualified coaches out there. Number one, there's no such thing as CrossFit programming. Every coach does things differently. And you get some fantastic coaches out there, but they're few and far between. The problem is anybody can open a CrossFit gym as long as you give CrossFit money, because eventually you're going to pass that cert and you're going to get in there. And the cert's not bad either. They're very hands-on with the cert. I think the problem lies when your only frame of reference is other CrossFitters. So you don't get to see the things that are outside. Even when we were a CrossFit affiliate, our strength-based stuff was very much my own. I was still doing a lot of Metcons with people, but it was always my stuff. And that stuff was stuff I learned from Judd Logan or stuff I learned from Louis Simmons or John Smith. Because deadlifting once every 6 months didn't make sense to me, know, and the more we did my stuff and the less we did CrossFit stuff, the more members I got. So eventually it just morphed into what it is now, which is pretty blood and guts. And there's still a lot of conditioning, but the conditioning is more functional, in my opinion. It's meant to make you either faster or stronger or both, and the byproduct of that is you get in shape. It's difficult to do those conditioning workouts for 40 and 30 and 40 minutes every day. And they beat the crap out of you, and the risk to reward just isn't there.
I think too, like if you're not used to like having an eye for like tweaking something a little different, even if it's something as simple as taking someone's chest and pushing them up like a half inch, like that can make a huge difference in somebody getting hurt or not getting hurt. And if you're trying to watch 20 or 30 people, like depending on how many people are in the class, like that's, if you're not like trained, like in the traditional sense, like if you don't know how to look for that stuff, the CrossFit certification is.
I went down.
Not worth it.
When I was at the CrossFit cert, it was funny because Doug Chapman was my instructor, and Doug is an old school meathead. And he's one of these guys who's actually had some. He was Julie Foucher's coach. He's had some real success, and he was around a lot longer than CrossFit was around. He was one of the original affiliates, and he glommed onto me as soon as I walked through the door, started calling me precious, and he was just all over me. Because at the time I was like this 300-pound dude walking there. He knew that, obviously I was a little bit different than the guys taking their shirts off for Fran. So we're doing Fran, and he's fucking with me the whole time, just standing next to me talking shit, and then talking me into doing jumping pull-ups because I was taking forever.
Everybody's eating. And
yes, and I'm still doing this program.
Everybody says, hey, where's the local Whole Foods?
I'm in jeans doing pull-ups,
Me and Dave were trying to get Chipotle, and everybody's like, where's the Whole Foods?
Is there a Whole Foods
Shut
here?
the fuck up. Just
We know you're in shape. We get it. But he would have me, when they do the thing where they circle everybody up, they're doing so he's pulling me in the middle, having me, like a girl would be coaching our class, and I remember the girl. I remember what she looked like. I can't remember her name, but she was a big-time CrossFit girl. And, she's instructing everyone. And he's pulling me, like he's coming over to her group and pulling me out and going, okay, what did she miss on there? So then I'm like, okay, well, this is what I would do differently. And I felt really weird because he was obviously fucking with this girl. Like, I don't know if she was new to the cert staff or what, but apparently I was going to be the guy the weapon he used to fuck with this girl. And there were a lot of little things that she was missing. One of the things she missed was she was trying to get me to do front squats with a PVC pipe. So I picked it up, and I was holding it, with no rack position whatsoever.
I mean, you are as flexible as a gymnast.
Absolutely. Like a young Romanian girl. And she's like, well, you have to put it on your chest and get your elbows up. And I'm like,
excuse me?
This is what I have, And she's like arguing with me. And I'm like, look, this is what I have. And finally he came over and he goes, he doesn't have that position. So now you've got to adjust and figure out a position for him, And it ended up me being with the crossed arm technique.
Plus, I don't care how flexible you are. There's no weight.
There's nothing to push that bar down, right? Yeah, there was no way I was getting into that position.
Impossible.
But it made the cert fun for me because he was fucking with me the whole time. But it was pretty good.
It's like if you'd like to remove all my bones and joints, I can get in that position.
Yeah, I did one CrossFit competition with Aaron at Black Flag before Tom Reed took over. The Rabbits owned it, and one of the movements was shoulder to overhead, and you had to touch your chest each time and then put it over your head with 95 pounds. Well, 95 pounds, I'm still not touching my chest. So I had to bring Dave Rabbit over, the owner. I go, this is what I've got. This is my position. He's like, he's good. Let him do that. Sorry.
If you just tape a tennis ball to my sternum,
it's like bounce it off.
I will touch that.
Yeah, it was funny. But yeah, the old days around here at CrossFit were fun, man. We were out at Tenney Avenue. It was definitely an interesting group of people out there. But
those loops are always the bane of my existence.
Oh, God, they were so much longer than 400 yards too. God. Going around the whole neighborhood or going through the Mexican restaurant. We would have the loop, and the short loop. You had to go out through a parking lot and then around the back of this part of the city, and then through the outside deck of a Mexican restaurant. These guys would run through and people would be handing them margaritas. And it was crazy, man. That was a good time. There was 900 square feet in that place. Nowhere to go. Whipping each other with jump ropes. And yeah, definitely a good time. How many classes are you teaching now? I mean, is this your full-time gig teaching out there? Yeah?
Teaching probably, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 8 classes a week.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are just like regular cardio-based classes. So just like HIIT training.
Yeah.
Some are strength-based classes. So basically just a main lift, accessory work, and then maybe like a little circuit at the end to kind of bring it all together. And then, again, the quote-unquote elite X-Fit style, which, I mean, it's just 15, 20 minutes, and it's just go.
Yeah. Is that your most popular one? Do you get people in there for that one?
That one, no.
No?
Usually the power one is the more popular one. Because everybody they want to lift.
Yeah, that's the end game. We cater to the end game. So, people come into CrossFit and they're like, oh, this is really good, but I wish it was just lifting. They come wandering in here eventually.
Okay, you can come pay me, just come to open gym.
Yeah, well, we've added a couple more open gym classes throughout the week just because some people, that's all they want to do. And who am I to say you have to do conditioning? I'm doing 2 Metcons a week right now because I'm going on a cruise and I want to look jacked on the cruise, But normally I would just be doing a lot of auxiliary work. Now, the majority of people walk through the door want to look good naked all the time. And that's awesome. So we throw in a lot of conditioning.
Or they give you like, oh, I want to lose fat here, 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 and here. And
like target fat.
It works that way.
Yeah. But we've got a handful of people in the gym who just want to lift. So give them the option, give them a couple classes a day where they can just come in and throw some weights around. And it's
kind of guide them in the right direction.
Yeah. There's still, we run a pure strength program, so it's basically the program that I do, and that's what most of them do, is they'll just do the lifting with a lot of auxiliaries, not much conditioning.
Kind of like the same stuff you would do on Jacked and Tan, pretty much.
Yep. That's exactly what's going on. Cool. So where are we off to next? When's the next match? 2 weeks, you said?
It's next week.
Yeah.
I'll be in Indiana.
People could come see you by doing what?
Just going to my Facebook, Eric Ryan, or Twitter, at Eric Ryan Pro, and then I believe it's the same on Instagram, at Eric Ryan Pro.
Yeah.
I'll always have match graphics put up here and there. Just checking, then you can see me in the area. And I think after that, the 23rd will be the next, February 23rd, be the next in the area. That's Absolute Intense Wrestling. And I believe that is the one where Emma, formerly known as Emma in the WWE, name's Tanila. She's Australian, so I don't know how to pronounce her name.
I know this is a poor attempt at saying that girl's name.
No. She's a very beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen her before. She'll be there. It'll be a fun show.
Cool. Where's that
at? Cleveland.
Okay.
That is at Mount Carmel.
Okay.
Do you know where Sweet Moses is?
No, but I've heard of Mount Carmel.
It's on Detroit. Just take Detroit.
Okay.
It's Detroit. It gets real nice, real bad, and then somewhat nice. It's in that somewhat nice.
Yes. Somewhere in the middle. Perfect. You won't get mugged or raped when you're going to the venue. That's
one or the other. It's not both.
You swear. You got to take your pick, whichever one you'd like better.
A little roulette.
Yes. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming out. We'll do this again. And anything else you want to say in parting? You want to come out of the closet or announce your
my candidate for presidency?
Right, your candidate for presidency. You want to propose to anyone? All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been Eric Ryan on The Refined Savage. See ya. Hey guys, one more thing before we go. I hope you're enjoying the show, and if you are, please head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. Stop in at our Instagram page at Refined Savage Podcast and like us there, and search for us on Facebook at The Refined Savage Podcast. Also, if you have a product or service you'd like mentioned on the show, contact us at blinddoggym@gmail.com. Let's discuss your idea and we'll see if we can help. Finally, if you love the show and want to see it continue, please consider donating to the show. $1 an episode would be a huge help. Just head on over to blinddoggym.com Look for that PayPal button where it says pay your dues and donate. Any amount helps. Thanks again for listening to the show. Now go on out there and do something awesome.